Brooke.
And welcome to WyoToday Newsroom. This beautiful Thursday morning, bit of nippy in the air, bit of a chill. It's gotten kind of crisp. It is football weather, and you're listening to WyoToday Newsroom, brought to you by Porter's. And this is Kevin Shields. I am joined today here on 101.7 KDNO by Sergeant Jeremiah Stover. Did I get that right?
Yep, that is the name.
that is the name. I'm just giving them a little grief. How are things going? You've now been here, about 3 months?
Yeah, about 3 months. 3 months in so far, and you know I've really enjoyed it so far. Riverton's a great place to be. I've kind of traveled all over the state, been up to Cody, Powell a couple of times. I really like it.
So how long were you? You were in Japan, right?
Yes, sir.
How to quote my father, who was the military guy, not myself. Don't call me sir. I work for a living. But how long were you in Japan?
So I was there, five and a half years, something like that.
Got a fiance over there, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She's still over there. She actually just landed a new gig. She's going to be working for Peach Airlines as a flight attendant. She just got selected. So that was pretty exciting to hear. I got the phone call this morning.
Awesome. What's the time difference? So she called you like at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. What is it, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock over there?
I think it was it's a 16-hour time difference.
Oh, it's substantial then.
She's 16 hours ahead, but I got the phone call about 4:30 this morning. She called me, woke me up. And she was like, "Hey, I just got selected for a job at Peach Airlines," and I was like, "Oh, dang!"
There you go.
There you go.
So when you give her a call, you've got to, like, for birthdays or Christmas or whatever have you, you've got to call a day ahead.
Yep.
To be accurate.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that pesky international dateline. So you've been here about a quarter. I'd heard, and you can probably confirm, that United States Marine Corps as a whole, you guys hit your recruiting target by one total contract, by one.
I think it was a total of 2 total contracts that we actually made our annual fiscal year recruiting mission. And that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal for the Marine Corps, because we've been one of the few branches that have actually been able to hit the numbers and actually get the numbers that we actually needed to sustain the force, and that's a big deal for us. And Recruiting Station Denver got the Recruiting Station of the Year for 9th Marine Corps District.
Oh, McKean's gonna be just not tolerable.
Yeah, if you haven't talked to him already, he's bragging up a storm.
Oh, I don't doubt that. So, in addition to that, one of the things I've heard, watching podcasts and Marines talk about is, there's all sorts of rumors, innuendo, whatever have you, about other branches of service, about how military training's gotten too woke or too this or too that or the other. But every time you hear from Marines, they talk about how, yeah, we really haven't changed. We've kind of stayed the course of what we are, and you're kind of either a Marine or you're not. And one of the things that I heard that was interesting, I've also heard it said about Navy SEALs, but is that Marines really don't go out and find people to become Marines. They're already Marines. Y'all just make them prove it.
Yeah, we search for the kind of individual that shows the characteristics that would actually make a Marine. So whenever I do talk to people, it's more screening. Like, hey, are you actually even qualified to even look into the Marine Corps? And that's like the first step of whenever I sit down and talk to somebody, we go through an in-depth screening, because we're looking for the kind of person that is going to set themselves apart from their peers and actually, and they're already kind of living by our 3 institutional core values: honor, courage, and commitment. They're not getting in a ton of trouble. They've been good on the outside of the Marine Corps and the civilian side, and then now it's them to transform into a Marine, and that's what recruit training really and truly does. And never do I tell somebody that, oh yeah, recruit training is going to be a breeze. because it's not. It's not. I will tell them straight up that recruit training is not a walk in the park. It has never been a walk in the park, and in the future, it will never be a walk in the park. It is the greatest challenge that a young man or woman could face.
Well, we want to give a special shout out. We've called his name on air before, so I don't feel bad doing it. And his dad can call and yell at me if he didn't like it. But we've called him in plenty of sports activities. One of your newest future recruit, I guess current recruits, future Marine or future official United States Marine Corps member is Jamison Spradlin, good friend, a good family's good friends of mine and my family, and we congratulate him. And when he was going through everything, how do you, like with a young man like that, when you explain those three core values, what are some of maybe the examples you use of how that those three cores get kind of personified, where they actually show themselves? What are some of the things you look for?
So the first thing that we kind of look at is integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And like a great example of that is like I've never used this example or like really explained kind of this example, but there was a food truck on base in Japan, and I went there and I ordered some stuff from the food truck, and they told me it was going to be like $24, and I was like, okay. So I gave them my card, and then I looked at the receipt, and they only charged me $2.04 and like 40 cents, and I went back to them and I was like, hey, like I still owe you like another $22. You only charged me $2. And then it's just things like that, being consistent all the way from the small things to like looking at the detail of like, hey, I still owe you this, even though I could have gotten away with it. Mm-hmm. That's an example of just integrity, having the honor to actually wear the uniform proudly and like carry yourself as a United States Marine, and then commitment. So I'm 100% committed to the United States Marine Corps and whatever the Marine Corps requires of me, even amidst like massive adversity, like where I did want to quit. Like there was times in recruit training where I did want to quit. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know if I made the right choice, but I committed to the Marine Corps, and in turn, the Marine Corps committed to me, and I'm 100% taken care of because of it. And then courage, just doing the hard things and getting through them and having the courage to actually face that adversity head on, all the way from recruit training to not being able to talk to my family face to face for, 5.5 years, something like that. And I had the courage to do it because I knew I was going to be better in the end.
And how do you screen for that from a young man like Jamison or any of the other many young men and women that you talk with? Because courage is kind of one of those things that a lot of people, I don't think, know the true meaning of and what it truly means. But also, it's kind of hard to me to test for that or for screen for that. What are some of the things you might talk to a recruit about, simply because a lot of teenagers, especially ones that maybe are considering some service. Now, some come from, they're looking to better their lives overall and stuff like that. But some of them
100%.
probably come through, they had good parents, like the Spradlins, good parents, raised them right. I'm not saying Jamison's not courageous. I know he is, but at the same point in time, he hasn't had to, because his mom and dad are so down to earth and so grounded. And being a former Marine as Jay is, or not a former Marine, once Marine, always Marine, being a Marine as Jay is, probably hasn't had that where, hey, had to do something out of fear, more so than, maybe public speaking at school or something like that, or a big at bat for as he plays for the Raiders.
Yeah. So like, especially as it pertains to Jamison, he is an absolute, he's a stud athlete. But that is a lot of adversity, like doing all these athletics that he does and he excels at. That just doesn't come with, that's at this point, it's no longer talent. Like that kid put a lot of work into how good he is at those sports. Like his cross country is what he's currently running. And he came to me, he was like, hey, Sergeant Stover, like I just ran, I think he said it was an 18:36 3-mile.
Yeah.
Running an 18-minute 3-mile, that's no small feat. That takes work. That's a lot of hard work, a lot of pushing yourself to your absolute limits. And he was so committed to like having a good 3-mile time that he had the courage to actually go out there and get the work in so he could actually see the results behind it. And that's kind of what we look at. That's kind of what I talk to people about. Like, what are you currently doing that is like, that's maybe a little bit difficult for you, and like why are you talking to the Marines when you know it's the hardest thing? You know that we're one of the most difficult branches, and like we kind of talk about that. And if like it's a good fit, like hey, this sounds like something he wants to do. Other than the benefits, I feel like those are a perk more than what somebody's actually looking for, which is like purpose, maybe being a part of something bigger than themselves, having the pride of being a Marine.
And not to put too much of his business out here, but one of the things you mentioned last time, and he's not chosen. I don't want to say the easy route because USMC is not easy route, but he's chosen he's interested in recon, right?
Yeah. He is interested in
tier 2 or tier. Is that tier 2 or is it tier 1?
I honestly
tier
couldn't tell you
2?
off the top of my head.
Tier 1's Delta, SEAL Team 6.
I know that Marine, like MARSOC, that's a tier 2, and I don't know where reconnaissance falls into, but yeah. As an initial entry into the Marine Corps, reconnaissance it's pretty grueling, because they're an infantry occupation. It's an infantry occupation. They're riflemen, but at the same time, they're, instead of 0311 infantry riflemen, they're 0321 reconnaissance. And that first you're going to go through RTAP. Don't ask me what it stands for.
What's it stand for?
I have no idea. But I had a buddy. His name was Preston Quam. He went through reconnaissance, made it all the way to the end, and he still didn't make it through. And he's one of the toughest people I've ever met in my life. And he didn't make it through. So it's a really, really grueling course. They go into a little bit of swim qual, which is it's going to be advanced swim qual.
Drown proofing and the like, tying the arms and legs together and having to bounce off the bottom of the pool. Anybody who's really interested in that, it's on YouTube now, I do believe. Discovery did a thing years and years ago, probably when you were in junior high, just due to your age, called Surviving the Cut. And they looked at, they went to Buds, they went to Ranger School, they went to Recon, they went to what is the Air Force? The combat
PJs.
medic thing. Yeah, they went to the PJs. They did kind of all those that they could get access to. Of course, they're not going to get access to like the CIA TAC squad, and they're not going to get access to Delta. But and they did a real good job of showing, and it was interesting to me because being athletic obviously helps. But when they talked to them, they're like, yeah, it really doesn't matter as far as your drive to whether or not, because most of them, it was one of those things. They're not looking to have to dismiss you. They're looking to see if you'll quit. And they said the athletic part really doesn't matter. It's all mental toughness. They're like, you'll see some guy you wouldn't expect who'll make it through relatively easily, or easy in that regard. But then you'll sometimes see, the stud that you expect who can hit all your run times. And the first time he doesn't come in first place, that's the first time he's ever failed at anything, and he just winds up quitting. I know that won't be Jameson's problem, because when we talked to Jameson during the fall sports preview, when we were doing that, and I was out there taking pictures, and of course Jameson came over, said hi, because I know him pretty well, and I was like, so you're gonna win this meet coming up, whatnot. He's like, cross country is really not my bag. It's something he's had to really work at, because he is a natural, as he says, sprinter, and he can fly. between the base pass and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of been cool to watch him cross country wise turn that natural sprinter's kind of body as you look at him and make it where he's got stamina, and he's running, I think he said, a 6 minute and 12 and a half second mile over 3 miles. And that's the pace over 3 miles. I'd be interested to see what his 1 mile time is when he knows he's just got to go a mile, because as he's built up stamina, I'm sure his kick comes in a lot sooner than the last 100 meters or so.
Yeah, that guy, he's absolutely crazy when it comes to running. Like, that dude can run. I think we just ran his 1.5 mile time, and it was really, really low. It was I think a little over 7 minutes, if I remember correctly, for his 1.5 mile time. So he can fly.
That's absolutely nuts. He can fly. Let's change the topic here to something big coming up for you guys. Got a birthday party coming up.
Yep, we do have a birthday party. The Marine Corps Ball, and that's a really important time to us. We take the birthday ball really seriously. Like, we whip out all the stops. We're in the most senior uniform, which is the dress blue alphas. So instead of the ribbons and the shooting badges that you normally see me in, I wear my medals, which we don't wear out in town. Like, that's only for birthday balls and very, very special occasions. And so we're in the most senior uniform, and that's our time to, reflect on the year that we just put behind us and really, really appreciate the history that came before us. There's a couple major things that happen. So the youngest Marine and the oldest Marine get the first 2 pieces of cake. The oldest Marine takes the first bite of the cake, and then he passes it to the youngest Marine in attendance, and that's to signify the passing of knowledge from the older generation of Marines to the younger generation of Marines, and how the younger generation is going to carry that forward, carry that legacy, carry that tradition forward, and that's a big thing that happens at that ball. And then we listen to the commandant's message to the force, and it's the birthday ball address, and he'll talk about some of the things that we did over the last year as an organization, and he's going to talk about what the future is going to hold for us. And he wishes us a happy birthday. So Marines always have 2 birthdays. They have the day that the individual Marine was born, and then we have the birthday, November 10th. That's our birthday.
I have seen Marines get drilled on this, on like little videos from family members and stuff like that. So I'm going to drill you with it, which is, where was the Marine Corps founded?
It was at Tun Tavern.
I knew it was a pub.
Yeah, it was Tun Tavern. That was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're actually rebuilding it. So that's actually going to be, that's something that is getting work actively done to it as the birthplace of the United States Marine Corps. And that was November 10th of 1775 is when the Marine Corps was officially founded. And that was at Tun Tavern.
And for those of y'all doing math at home, you're going, wait, 1775? That was before we officially became a country.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a unique thing. Use that as trivia questions tonight when you're at dinner or whatnot. As well, the Marine Corps Ball, though, is not on November 10th. Isn't it like October something?
So we ended up moving our birthday ball date, I think, to November 22nd.
Okay.
Instead of October 25th when it was originally planned. But that's it. The birthday balls happen around that time. It's very rarely do you actually get a birthday ball on November 10th of 1775. Or November 10th of the year. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained this morning.
We're going to go back in time in the DeLorean with Michael J. Fox.
I wish I could. Because it's but very rarely do we actually see a birthday ball actually land on November 10th.
Probably don't want to have it like on a random Wednesday.
I mean, I've had a ball on a random Wednesday, and that was at the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. But they gave us the day off afterwards, and all we had to do was come into work on Friday.
There you go.
And it was and it's an absolute surreal experience. You see the sword detail.
So you're going to do it the week of Thanksgiving then this year?
I think so.
So I'm not sure. Hold on, let's see here. What day of the week is that?
It should fall on a Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday, I think that's after Thanksgiving. Change in date means I have a change in schedule.
Yeah.
So,
And, I did offer you a chance to come down and experience a birthday bowl with us because you do give us a lot of grief. And, even though it's out of play, I think it's really good for, somebody like yourself to come down and actually experience a birthday bowl with us. See McKeon.
See McKeon, see Aiden.
Yeah.
Let me check my schedule again because you'll change the dates now. Sergeant Stover was more than kind to allow me the privilege of inviting me. And the unfortunate part is I hope you understand, I had to just put my daughter's concert first.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now
I get
that has changed with the date change. So I will have to check my calendar. One of the things we talked about before right before we came on air here, was some things going on with the United States Marine Corps Reserves.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on there, and if someone's interested, let's say someone here is listening who is I don't want to say former Marine, but was formerly active, are they available for the reserves? Let's say they got out a year and a half ago.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a few different options when it comes to reserves. The first one is just the initial, like if you don't want to spend a whole lot of time away from home but still want to earn the title United States Marine, still get some of the benefits that comes with being a Marine. That initial reserves, is something that you might want to take a look into. Like, let's say that you have a full ride to the University of Wyoming, and you really want to go to the University of Wyoming. That's the reserves is an option for you. And then along with that, we have a program that actually breaks up your initial active duty time. So like your initial training. So it's going to end up being, the summer right after you graduate high school. That summer is going to be your recruit training time. And then you come back and then you go to school. And then that next summer you go to your schoolhouse, and that's where you learn your primary job in the Marine Corps. And then that third summer is Marine combat training. So where you actually go down and you do Marine combat training down there at Camp Pendleton through the School of Infantry. And that's a really good option if you want to go to a 4-year university, but you still want to look at the Marine Corps as an option for you, and you want to do the reserve option. That's a good program. Now, after you're done with an active duty, there is another program that we have. It's called the Direct Affiliation Program. So after you're done with your initial 4 years, you can elect to go to the Direct Affiliation Program, which puts you as an active reservist in a unit nearest your home or wherever you choose to live. And a lot of those times, like, they come with some pretty hefty bonuses. Like, retention bonuses are there in the Marine Corps. Initial bonuses, not really. But retention bonuses to keep you in the Direct Affiliation Program. I mean, those ones, I had a buddy, his name was Charles Manalo. He did the Direct Affiliation Program. He ended up coming out with a $20,000 bonus to actually be able to go into the Direct Affiliation Program. And that's available, like, there's a lot of availability for things like that. For those bonuses for certain jobs that we offer. So it's kind of a cool program.
Excellent. So did you get, I know you were trying to make it up there. Did you get a chance to make it up to Thermopolis and Lyman this past weekend?
I did.
So were you wearing your dress uniform?
Absolutely, I was.
So you went up to the booth.
Yep.
You were definitely the most sharp dressed, because I know what Kevin and Ryan wore today.
And their overalls were awesome. I was like, hey, where did you get those overalls? And I can't remember which place in Thermopolis they said they got them from, But yeah, and a lot of people there were actually tricked out in those overalls. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's cool. That shows a lot of school pride. Thermopolis has a lot of school pride in their high school.
And it's like that, especially with some of the with all the small schools, but even especially so when you start to get a little bit of distance between them and the next school. Don't get me wrong, Wind River, Shoshone, Wyoming Indian, St. Stephen's, Du Bois take a lot of pride in their school, whether it's athletically or some other extracurricular activity or just the academics and day-to-day work, and they do a great job. But especially when you get out there, you kind of, Thermopolis is good hour away from Riverton, and it's kind of, a whole lot of nothing. One of the best drives in Wyoming, in my opinion,
Absolutely,
going from here
through
to
that
there.
Wind River Canyon
Oh,
right
yeah,
there. Oh my
absolutely.
gosh, absolutely gorgeous.
It's absolutely gorgeous, especially this time of year. During basketball season, it's not my most favorite thing, depending on the snow. But
Yeah, the winter
when you-
drive up there.
that's kind of those smaller schools or smaller towns, especially that aren't near like a Riverton or near a Casper or something like that. Really, the entire hub of the town centers around the school. Everything kind of centers around that because that's kind of the meeting place. That's kind of where you go. It's kind of where all the activities are. They take a lot of pride in it. I know Kevin and Ryan love calling their local hometown high school for football. So be fun. Where are you at this week? I know you try and make a game each week. I don't remember if you're with me or not.
I think I am with you this week.
Wind River?
Yeah, I think I'm with you at Wind River this week.
Thursday at 6.
Yep.
No, Thursday at 5, excuse me. It's 5 o'clock kickoff.
I think I am with you, and then I'm doing another game on Friday. I'd have to look at my planner. I live out of that thing.
Yeah.
I live off the planner.
I think you may be at Riverton then on Friday, unless you're out of town. But
As far as I know, I thought I had a small school on that Friday.
You may. I've got Wind River this week, and then Shoshone next week. Shoshone will be their senior day, as we kind of oddly get ready to wrap up football season. It feels like it just started, and it's about to come to an end, at least the regular season. So we always enjoy having you in there. I always enjoy the fact that, especially when you walk in, that I get to see directly at the games I'm calling, like Wind River. When you walk up in those dress uniforms, the stadium kind of stops for a second. First, they're trying to figure out what are you doing there, but number two is they just get a real kick out of it. I think they really enjoy it. I'm sure you get umpteen thank you for your service type things, and of course. Some veterans appreciation type events coming up. November just around the corner. And of course, we here at WyoToday want to thank not only you guys, the United States Marines, and you personally, but Navy, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard. Because one of the weird things I always think about when you read articles and stuff like that is everybody kind of poops on the Coast Guard a bit, has a little fun with them.
The Coast Guard goes hard.
Yeah, they go extreme. When you look at the Coast Guard Academy, you talk about going old school. Holy cow. But also, the Coast Guard, you see, people forget, you see a lot of action in that because all this stuff of chasing down boats with cartels, we won't get into politics of it, but chasing down cartel boats and things of that nature and dealing with that's their bag. That's their gig. That's what they do. In addition to, of course, in certain areas with a lot of commercial fishing, the rescue diving, everybody knows about the Bering Sea guys because they're like their version kind of special forces.
Yeah.
Those divers going into 30-foot waves, with the water temperature 28 degrees right above freezing point for salt water. They're just nuts. But
and I don't know if you've watched the videos of their initial training.
it's crazy.
Oh, they rank up there. They rank up there with the Marine Corps, and yeah, like I had a buddy. His name was William Baxter, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Coast Guard after the Marine Corps," and I was like, "Really? Why?" And he was like, "Have you like seen what they do?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "You should look into it." And I started like researching it on YouTube and stuff, watching these videos, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Like, good on them. Good on them.
Well, and it's a little different breed of service, if you will, just simply because it's half service. Yes, the Coast Guard originally, and what it's supposed to be is if we're invaded, they're there to kind of be the last line of defense, so to speak. But at the same point in time, there's a huge aspect in a lot of their day-to-day lives of, for lack of a better word, law enforcement. Because they are going after cartels. They're looking for those homemade submarines and, the Sinaloa cartel, things of that nature. It's not like they go, oh, hands up. They're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to fight. There's a reason they have the phrase silver or blood. If you can't be bribed, we'll just kill your family kind of thing. So it's a crazy thing that all the branches do. And what they go through and what they give to us and what they protect for us. So we want to thank them as always. Any last words you want to give to the people here? Reminder that we're on 101.7 KDNO now, so it's Fremont and Hot Springs County.
Well, I guess the last words I got is good job, Thermopolis, for giving it to Lyman. Being from Lyman, I was really excited to go to that game. I actually got to talk to some of my old coaches there. But I'm just glad that, Thermopolis came out on top, because I support all the people who've committed to us, and one of them being James Witt, and he plays for Thermopolis High School, number 53. I got to watch him in action, and I'm fully supportive of what he does.
That's why they play the games too. Kind of talking with Ryan and Kevin, the expectation was that Lyman would be a little bit easier in some of the games because they played some really tough opponents. Of course, Lyman brought every bit of fight with them, 14-7 final. It was kind of funny. We had that game was really close. Riverton Lander 17-13. After Riverton got up 17-0, Lander came storming back, just unable to get past the Wolverines. And then we had my two games of the week that both had running clocks for the entire second half that were just mismatches. In a big way. So we'll look forward to having you out there on Thursday. That'll be good if you're at Wind River, if you double check your schedule, obviously, but if you're at Wind River, because I'm without a color man, because our Lander guy, my normal color guy is a color commentator, is going with Ernie to Lander and Rollins, because Ernie's normal guy that he splits the booth with, Andrew Garcia, is really good at it. I mean, he's a great kid too, but he's in high school, and it's a Thursday night game, and he doesn't get out of school till 3:30 because they only go half day on Friday at Shoshone. So he's kind of stuck. So we had to get some help. So I had to call Du Bois Encampment this weekend alone, and I've realized I'm way out of practice calling a game by myself, especially if the score gets a little bit out of hand. I start just randomly having to talk about things, and with kind of no one. Declan, my cameraman, does a really great job, but he's kind of like cameraman Connor, and the folks who've listened to a game with us know that cameraman Connor says hi. That's about it. That's about all he says. So, but we want to thank Sergeant. Soon, rumors of a promotion. We won't get into that, though. Rumors of it. But we want to thank, at least for now, Sergeant Stover for joining us. Thank him for bringing donuts by to us this morning as well. For Sergeant Stover of the United States Marine Corps, this has been Kevin Shields. You've been listening to a WyoToday Newsroom, sponsored by Porter's. And as the chill in the air gets lower and lower, because winter is coming, to quote Game of Thrones, with winter coming, Porter's is a great place to go if you're looking to replace or maybe even get a new pellet stove or wood stove. They've got you covered. They also have technicians that can come out and take a look at it. They can make sure it's safe and operating, or if it's not like mine, not lighting quite as quick, because I got to go over and see Porter's and Leo and the crew over there. They can help you out. So for once again, for Sergeant Stover, this has been Kevin Shields on WyoToday Newsroom. Sarah will be with you tomorrow at 8:08 here on 101.7 KDNO.